Benjamin Z. Meller, and in this video I'm going to talk about the history of bearer shares. So what are bearer shares and what is the history of bearer shares? Well, good question. So the answer is bearer shares are a unique form of stock ownership that differs significantly from the more commonly known registered shares. Unlike registered shares, where the owner's name is recorded by the company and appears on the stock certificate, bearer shares are issued in paper form, and the company does not keep a record of the owner. Instead, possession of the physical share certificate confers ownership. This means that whoever holds the physical document is considered the legal owner of the share and can claim dividends or other rights associated with the stock. The history of bearer shares dates back to the 19th century, when they emerged as a convenient method for investors to remain anonymous while still being able to easily transfer ownership. This was particularly appealing for foreign investors who wanted to avoid the legal and tax complications of registering their ownership in a foreign country. Bearer shares were also popular for the ease of their transfer, as ownership could change hands simply by passing the physical certificate to another person without the need for a formal transfer procedure. During the 20th century, bearer shares gained popularity in certain jurisdictions, especially those with banking secrecy laws or less stringent financial regulations. They became a favored instrument for investors seeking privacy, as they allowed for anonymity in ownership and ease of transfer without the need for public disclosure. This anonymity was also appealing to those looking to evade taxes or conceal assets, as the lack of a formal ownership registry made it difficult for tax authorities and regulatory bodies to track the ownership of assets. However, in the late 20th and early 21st centuries, the use of bearer shares began to decline significantly. This shift was driven largely by global efforts to increase financial transparency and combat financial crimes such as money laundering, tax evasion, and terrorism financing. International organizations like the Financial Action Task Force and various government agencies pushed for stricter regulations on bearer shares. As a result, many countries either completely abolished bearer shares or implemented regulations requiring them to be immobilized or dematerialized. Immobilization involves storing the physical share certificates in a centralized depository and recording ownership electronically, while dematerialization refers to the replacement of physical certificates with electronic records of ownership. Today, bearer shares are much less common in the world of investing. Many financial jurisdictions, particularly those in the European Union and North America, have stringent laws that either ban bearer shares or require them to be registered, thus eliminating the anonymity that was their hallmark. In jurisdictions where they are still allowed, bearer shares are subject to strict regulatory requirements, including disclosure of the beneficial owner's identity. The decline in the use of bearer shares reflects a broader global trend towards greater transparency in financial and corporate activities. As the international community continues to prioritize the fight against financial crimes, it is likely that bearer shares will become increasingly rare, being replaced by more transparent forms of stock ownership. This shift is indicative of the changing priorities in global finance, where the value of transparency and accountability is increasingly taking precedence over the privacy and convenience that bearer shares once offered. I hope that helps, and I wish you good luck with your investing.